Coming up on today's episode, California finally releases theme park reopening guidelines, and they don't look good. The first trailer for Raya and the Last Dragon finally dropped, and we recommend some Disney Plus Halloween fun. All that and more, plus our featured film discussion on the Ghosts of Buxley Hall on today's Plus or Bust. Welcome to episode 6 of Plus or Bust, a Disney podcast, where each week we watch a random movie on Disney Plus and decide whether we would recommend it a plus or not a bust. My name is Matt, and joining me today are my co-hosts, my sister Nikki.
Hi, how are you?
My brother Brady.
Hey, what's up?
And my wife Carissa.
Hello.
All right, so we are going to do the news before we get into our wonderful movie that we're talking about today. And the biggest news story of the week, for anybody paying attention, is that California finally released their theme park reopening guidelines for the whole COVID-19 thing. And basically, Disneyland can't open. That's the gist of it, is they're very strict guidelines, and Disneyland does not meet the current requirements.
You should probably explain the tiers because people in other states don't have the tiers.
Right. So, okay.
Basically, there are 4 tiers that any county can be in California, and they have to be, and it starts at purple, which is widespread, and then red is substantial, orange is moderate, yellow is minimal. So basically what Newsom said is that
Newsom didn't say it. He decided on it, but a lot of people the press conference was given by a doctor, Dr. Mark Gowley. So he's the one who actually stated all this.
Yeah, but Newsom made this decision.
Sure, but I don't think he made the decision all by himself.
Oh, okay. Well,
California decided.
Okay, so basically yellow is minimal, and I guess that's when theme parks will be allowed to open when their counties are in the yellow tier. Currently, does anybody know exactly where Orange County is to this day? Exactly where they're at? Are they in red still?
Orange County is in red.
In red. Yeah, they're in red.
No, they can't be in red. It says all operations
Orange
must be
County
closed.
Orange County is in red, and Universal is in purple.
It says all operations must be closed.
All theme park operations.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, this whole article is just about theme parks, Chris.
Gotcha.
Basically what the tiers mean is there has to be a certain number of cases per 100,000 people. To be in the yellow tier, which is moderate, which is the lowest amount of COVID cases that there can be, it has to be 1 for every 100,000 people. Basically is what it comes down to. And currently, I have it somewhere.
It said to be in the yellow tier, where the large parks can open, the county cases must be less than 1 per 1,000.
100.
Is that what you just read?
100,000.
100,000. And positivity rates of less than 2%. Right now, Orange County has 4.6 cases per day per 100,000 and a positivity rate of 3.2%.
Right, that's what I was looking for. So they still have a long way to go, basically, before Disneyland can even open at 25% capacity. Like, that's what they're trying to get to. They're trying to get to the yellow tier, which means they can open at 25% capacity, indoor dining and everything can be at 25% capacity, and they have to implement a reservation system. They have to screen guests for symptoms in advance. Obviously, face coverings have to be worn. So that's what they have to try to get to. And their case numbers are too high for that.
Currently.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little bit confused because, like, San Francisco is in the yellow tier right now. I believe they're the only county in the whole state that is. And even in the yellow tier, things are still not allowed to be open. Like, at what point are we allowed to open bars? Like, my restaurant, the bar top can't even be open. And I'm like, can any bar top be open? Even at 20? And also, if the yellow tier is the most minimal risk that anyone's taking, why are we only letting them open at 25% capacity?
Because they're trying to get it down even more. That's still 1 in every 100,000 cases, or 100,000 people. That's still a large number for California.
Right, but also the these counties in LA are the most populated in the entire state, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of people that you have to try and get. Like, you're working towards a really hard goal. But I'm saying, I don't understand why, even when, I'm not even talking about just theme parks and at the yellow tier, which I'm like, okay, why is it only 25%? But I'm just talking about, like, the yellow tier is basically still not anything completely open. So is he just saying that California can't be completely open until we eradicate the virus?
I think so, yeah.
That could take years.
Then I guess we're not going to be fully open for years.
God, I don't know.
Didn't I tell you, read the fine print, Christmas 2025.
There's 3.176 million people in Orange County alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people in that one county to try and get under control.
That's why 1 in every 100,000 is still a large number. That's why they want it.
I agree that that's still a large number, but I also think that with that many people, that's like a lot of people. That's like multiple states combined.
Yeah, that's the problem. California is a large population, and a lot of people go to Disneyland specifically. They're just trying to make it so that people are safe. They want to get the virus down as low as possible. And if they have it more than 25% open anywhere, it's just going to cause a wider spread, because California, even though we're trending better, we're still in America, and America doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
You can't say that it would be for sure a place that an outbreak would take place, because there are other theme parks that are open in other parts of the country, not just Disney, but just theme parks in general, and they are not the causes of widespread outbreaks. They have not traced a huge outbreak from Walt Disney World, and I actually think that that's even a bigger deal, because people are traveling from New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and all those states that were really, really high. They're all going down to Florida and coming back, and those states have not seen increases just because of people traveling to Florida.
Those states have all seen increases, though, and there's no way to know if it's from Florida. The thing is, it's hard to compare it to Florida, because Florida, most of the people going do not live in Florida, and if they get COVID, they just take it back to wherever they're from. It doesn't even affect Florida's numbers. California, it would affect their numbers because everybody going there is from California. If there is an outbreak related to Disney, it will show up on California's numbers, because people going to Disneyland are going to be from California. Not to mention, I don't fucking trust that Disney isn't swaying the numbers anyway.
I think any business is swaying the numbers.
Of course they are. You can't trust a corporation. So Disney, anytime one of their cast members gets sick, we've already seen reports from various sources that said that they've told cast members who were sick that they could still work.
Right. I think that it's ridiculous. I think that this is, and I'm not even saying that just as a insane Disney person. This is ridiculous. This is what I thought he was going to do. I thought a couple months ago, I said he's probably going to align Disneyland with its county. So if its county is good, then technically the theme park would be allowed to be open, which is actually doesn't make sense, because how many people from Orange County are actually going to Disneyland? And like, what if it's like the surrounding counties? So, like, technically, the surrounding counties, which are all so close because it's such a populated area, I don't know. I just feel like no matter what, I think this is a losing battle. Yeah. And I feel like he's setting them up to fail. And I feel like he's taking out the last couple weeks on them, which to a certain extent, I think he should have, because they were acting like toddlers. Like, the executives and all the statements they were putting out were super unprofessional, and I think that they were crying like babies, and all the execs are getting their money back, but they're, laying off all these cast members, and they're trying to use it as an excuse and put it on Newsom, and it's worked. But I think that this is kind of a nail in the coffin for a lot of this, and the thing about it is that Disneyland will survive no matter what. But they're right. All these small business, all these restaurants around there, they're not going to. They're not. All these people are still out of jobs. And it's crazy because when I was down there, it really is a freaking ghost town down harbor. There is nobody over there. And there's still a shit ton of people going to downtown Disney, but nobody is going to the IHOP. Nobody is going to that Denny's. Everybody is going there, shopping, and then going back home. And it's just, it really is affecting all those businesses around
the small
there.
business of Denny's.
Well, but the servers at that Denny's don't have jobs anymore. The servers at the Tony Romas don't have jobs anymore.
I get that, but he's trying to keep people safe. I get it from both sides.
Fair enough. Keep it closed, but then he needs to have some sort of specific economic plan for the people who are hurting from the parks being closed. Like, if you're really like, oh, I'm more concerned about science, I'm more concerned about this, then Orange County, since it is getting hit directly because of Disneyland being closed, then he should also have some sort of program for all those people.
Shouldn't that be Orange County's problem, not his?
It should be. Well, I mean, but he's specifically doing something that's hurting Orange County and it's hurting Disneyland.
It's not just specific. Disneyland is the biggest one, but it also affects every theme park in the state.
Yeah.
Great America's not opening.
Okay, but like
no.
Legoland
can't open.
Okay. But those theme parks have a small community around them of people that lost their jobs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that the Carl's Jr. that's right outside of Six Flags is gonna be okay. I'm sure there are people who are still going through drive-through there, and I'm sure it's still open. And if not, it's one fast food chain restaurant at that outside of the thing. I'm talking about there are like mom and pop hotels that are down there that are, operated by one person, one owner, and stuff like that. Those are small businesses, and those are getting affected by it not being open. And I think that I'm almost positive that more than any other theme park in California, there is a community of people right outside of it that are suffering, is what I'm saying.
Of course there is, and that sucks, but unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. He's trying to keep people safe. And I don't necessarily agree that he's handling it the best that he could. But I also don't think that... I'm not going to be mad at him for wanting to keep people safe, is my point.
I'm not mad at it. I think that it's ridiculous, though. And I think that he should... I think that everything that he's doing, he should do, except for I do not think that they should have to be on the same tier as the county. I think that Disneyland should be allowed to operate on its own thing.
The problem with that is, like, then I know that what you're saying, anybody can go at any time, and it's just going to be bad regardless. You still
have a reservation system. You're not going to have 50,000 people outside of your doors trying to get in. You can't, because there's a reservation system. They could even make it so that you can't even get into the parking lot unless you show them the reservation.
But they can also potentially make it to where if you don't live in this county, you don't get a reservation.
Yeah, they can do that too.
Well, I was just going to say, who's to say that the people would even go to those establishments outside of the parks?
Right.
It's obviously geared towards tourists, because the people that are coming just for Disney are from down there. If people come from out of town and you go down to Disneyland, you're going to go to the Denny's across, because you don't know that 5 miles down the line, there's a blah, blah, blah and a blah, blah, blah that you would rather go to. Like, people that live down there know that, so they're not going to stay on Harbor and go to those businesses. Those businesses are specifically catering to those people. The McDonald's across the street and the Panera across the street from Disneyland are closed right now. They're closed because they have nobody coming there. So that means
Disney
that people
doesn't give a shit about those businesses. So we're clear.
They don't give a shit about their own cast members. That's very clear.
Ken Potrock, the president of Disneyland, mentioned in his statement that it was leading to the inevitable closure of small family-owned businesses and irreparably devastating the Anaheim, Southern California community. I don't believe for a second that Disneyland gives a shit about these small businesses, because they've been trying to get them closed for years so that they can buy up the land. This could be a best-case scenario for Disneyland.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that it's very clear that that's all they care about, is that themselves and lining their own pockets.
They just mentioned that in their statement,
just the same way.
to try to make it look like, oh, you're not just hurting us, you're hurting the small businesses.
And it's working. It's working. People are recalling Newsom every 5 seconds. Like, it's working.
The funny thing is Disney put money behind Newsom.
Yeah, I know. That's why they're so pissed. That's what a lot of people are saying too. That's why they're so pissed. They would expect him to be in their pocket, but they don't have him in their pocket. And maybe that's what this is. And I'm just saying that this back and forth between these two higher powers, Disney and Newsom, like at some point they do need to think about all of the people who it's affecting in the community right outside of Disneyland that it's affecting. That's all I'm saying. Because even if you were to say like, okay, not even 25%, 10% capacity, let the parks be open at 10% capacity, that would improve all of those businesses being able to be open. That's all I'm saying. I get what you're saying. I'm not.
I don't trust mega corporations and I don't trust politicians. So either way, they're both evil.
I get what you're saying, but I think that it's a little bit extreme.
But it's not just Disney who's mad at him. The Anaheim mayor released a statement. The other theme parks have released statements. Basically, most of California is against this decision. So I won't be surprised if it gets overturned eventually. But the craziest thing in there was the indoor queuing thing, that you're not allowed to have indoor queues.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because the majority of Disneyland is indoor queues.
I don't even know how they would operate certain rides.
Somebody commented on the post, the Carly Wayzel post, saying she looked into it and that most of the queues for Disney are outdoors.
Right.
No way.
For Disneyland? In Disneyland, yes, because in Disneyland, when it was first built, there was less space. So most of the queues were made outdoors because they had to use what space they had for the attractions themselves. So they had to use the outdoors for the queuing space. So most Disneyland queues are outdoors or at least open air. Like even the Fantasyland attractions,
it's technically like
they're covered, but they're open air.
Yeah.
Open air.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. I was like, because those ones are all inside. You got both of the New Orleans ones. Half of them are in, half of them are out. Same thing with Adventureland, the Jungle Cruise, and Indy, half in, half out. So it's
basically what would happen for like Pirates, for example, you would stop at the
doors,
and then they would let you go in, and that's where you would go in to get on the boat.
Right.
You wouldn't there. You
one
would
of the big
immediately get on.
Well, what about something like the Haunted Mansion? You can't
Haunted
go
Mansion would be
around the elevator.
Yeah, Haunted Mansion would be impossible because there's no way to not put people on that elevator.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's no way around it.
So then it would have to be the same thing. You stop at the doors and your party of 5
takes the 10-minute elevator ride.
Takes the 10 minute.
They would just have to. Yep. They would just have to cut the entire pre-show. It would just have to operate as an elevator for that to work.
Right.
And the wait times would be horrendous because you would have to be waiting for the elevators. There's 2 elevators. You would have to be waiting for them to go up and down.
And they won't have Fast Pass, so.
Right. And Rise of the Resistance is also impossible because in order to get to the Star Destroyer, which starts the loading process, so you have to go through the transporter ship with Beck, Admiral Beck, or Lieutenant Beck.
Spoilers.
Lieutenant Beck, you have to get on that thing, and that thing moves, and then you get into the Star Destroyer, and then through the Star Destroyer, you have to go through separate doors to get onto the ride vehicles. So, there's no way to, skip all that. I do think the indoor queuing thing is ridiculous. I think most of the Disneyland rides with indoor queues are big enough to where you could pulse people and
socially distance.
Right. You could pulse people and separate them enough to where I don't think it would be a problem. There's enough room in the Space Mountain queue to where you could safely have people walk through it and stay in a certain spot. Indiana Jones, same thing. Roger Rabbit, all the big indoor queues, there's a way to space people out. So I think that whole thing is kind of silly.
You think
ridiculous.
You think Guardians is big enough? Because Guardians doesn't seem very big. The secondary inside queue where the actual elevators are.
So.
It would just be
maybe not where the elevator. Yeah, I think so.
Just the way that they're doing it in Florida is certain rides only are holding a certain number of people. There are people that are getting on Rise of the Resistance and their whole party is the only party in the vehicle. So they're just going to have to pulse it to a way where only a small amount of parties can even go through the collector's office or whatever. So I think that every ride they could safely do it. I kind of see where they're coming from because indoors is the worst place to be.
But movie theaters are open.
Movie theaters Yes, and movie theaters shouldn't be open, but the thing is with movie theaters is
You're stationary.
you are
So it's even
you are
worse.
stationary, but it's only you and those other people in the room for 2 hours. Line queues, there's 400 people walking through an hour. Like, I think that's
But
where
you're
they're coming
moving.
from. I know you're not always, but that's more people to touch things, more people going through an enclosed area. So that's where they're coming from with that. But I don't
Well,
think
honestly, if you're touching rails at this point in line for rides and you're not a child, then that's just your
they're
own problem.
just trying to keep people safe. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'm agreeing that I think that it's ridiculous. I just think that that's where they're coming from. Is a lot of people
I see
go
where
through
he's
those
coming
queues.
from too, but I just think that it's just. I think it's just getting to the point where it's like there's a lot of things that are like in the beginning of the pandemic when you should order groceries but you can't touch them for like 2 hours because the virus could be on them or stuff like that. Like, I just think that some of it, like, it just doesn't make sense to me, or it doesn't add up, or it's like, why can this be open? Like, my restaurant is open. Like, you can sit in a restaurant for an hour and a half 6 feet away from another person, but you can't walk by someone else in a theme park.
But
that just seems.
But that's the thing, is like, maybe we shouldn't be opening these things because it's only getting worse in other parts of the country. The numbers are only going up.
You can't live like this for the rest of your life, though.
But that's the problem. We're not. We're not living like this. That's why the numbers are so bad.
I mean,
Because half the fucking country wasn't taking it seriously to begin with.
right. Well, we all missed our opportunity to get it eradicated, so. I
Well,
guess
and
we're
now
living with it.
now Newsom's trying to make sure that we do. So Disneyland's not opening until next year. That's all I'm saying.
Essentially.
I did see somebody who I follow on Twitter. She mentioned how I don't know if it was her or if it was somebody commented on the tweet, but they went to this place in downtown LA. I think it's in the fashion district, and how they went over there and literally nobody was wearing masks. So it was like a flea market type place,
Yeah.
but nobody had masks on.
We went there.
Yeah, that sounds like the fashion district.
And so that's a part of the problem too, is that if the people in the cities are not taking it seriously, then the numbers are never going to go down.
Yeah, that's the problem everywhere, is that people aren't taking it seriously.
I think we should move on.
Right?
Disneyland's not opening anytime soon. That's my point. That's the point of this whole thing. is
We knew that
Disneyland's not
before you
opening
said that.
anytime soon. All right, well, if anybody's still here after that. Yesterday, October 21st, Disney dropped the first trailer for their upcoming animated feature, Raya and the Last Dragon. The film is set to release theatrically on March 12th, 2021. That's not happening, but the trailer was good.
It was. It reminded me a lot of Avatar, actually.
Yes, it's got huge
Avatar,
Avatar,
Airbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes. Young Raya looks like Katara. She just looks like Katara.
She does. A mix of Katara and Korra.
Yeah, well, they both kind of looked similar when they were young. She's even got like
Yeah.
the blue, strands of hair with like the blue beads in them. Like that's exactly the same as Katara and Korra.
And then it also seems like the country or wherever it is that she lives is divided.
Yeah, and there are hybrid animals just like in Avatar, where it's got very Avatar vibes. But I think the reason for that is that Avatar bases a lot of its design on different cultures of Asian cultures, and that's the same thing that Raya is. It's kind of taking a mix of all the different Asian cultures and putting it into one story. So I guess there's going to be some crossover with that. But it looks nice. It looks good.
Yeah, I was telling Yuri, I'm so glad they pronounced how to say her name, because I would have said it wrong.
Yeah, I've been calling her Raya since they
I've been
announced
calling
it.
her Raya too. And Uriel's like, that's my husband, by the way. He said, but it's spelled like Maya.
And he was right.
Yeah.
And he was, yeah. He was like, how do you...
It's Raya, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Brenna, my girlfriend. That's her last name, is Raya. Raya. If I would have looked at it, I would have known immediately.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't either. I was pronouncing it Raya.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's how I was pronouncing Brenna's last name too.
Yep. Probably.
The trailer didn't show much. It was just a teaser trailer, but it sort of set up our main character and like the conflict, I guess. Raya is like a warrior princess type who is trying to find the last dragon their last dragon on Earth to sort of reunite their kingdoms, basically, is her goal. That's the plot of the movie. They did not show the dragon, but they did show concept art of the dragon at D23 a couple years ago, and it's pink and purple and blue and really pretty. So
not How to Train Your Dragon.
No, it's more of a traditional like Chinese dragon, but it does have like DreamWorks face with like a sassy eyebrow, and it's voiced by Awkwafina. So
That's gonna be weird. I know a lot of people were not happy about that casting when it came out.
I don't. Who's Awkwafina?
She's also playing Scuttle, I believe, in the new Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that's true. There's been some backlash towards Awkwafina in the last few months.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is. So
she's
like a comedian.
Yeah, she's a comedian. She's Chinese American father and Korean American mother. So she's mixed. Yes, there's been some backlash towards her because of her whole persona. Is slightly offensive. Black people are offended by her persona, basically. And there's been some backlash to her over the last few months because of everything that's been going on in the country in terms of race equality. So,
well, all right then.
Okay, Carissa, what are your feelings on Raya?
I think she looks like
Raya.
a Mulan / Moana / what was the other one?
Avatar.
Katara?
Yeah, she looks like a mix of all three of them. But I like it. I mean, I'm digging it. I just also kind of How to Train Your Dragon vibes, but it's like I like where they're going with it, and I think it'll be good. I just don't like that it's like not. I mean, I guess that nothing Disney does is like 100% original, but I don't know. It's just like it feels like kind of pulling from what's popular in all those areas right now. So I don't know, but I'm excited for anything with a strong female lead. So. Also, the trailer, when I watch the trailer, she kind of looks super cartoony, like the scene where she's like putting the sword in the thing and then moving it. She looks like young, and it looks like the rest of it looks real, but she looks super cartoony, which I thought was kind of a weird contrast. And then the trailer was very serious. Like there was no there was like one, I think, like wink or something like that. But other than that, it was very
there was two jokes because there's both involving the like not caterpillar. What would you call it? Like an armadillo thing. She first sends it under the thing, and then she like gives it a high five, and then it flips over, and she has to flip it back over. And then at the end, she's like pushing him over, and like, you're getting too heavy for this. Like, there's two jokes, both involving that thing. One at the beginning and one at the end.
Cute.
That was a
Looks
teaser?
like it's a
Yeah, that was in the
hedgehog.
teaser.
Oh, I guess I wasn't paying attention.
Looks like it's a hedgehog.
Yeah,
Other than that, it seemed kind of serious. That's all I was saying.
Well, Frozen 2 seemed kind of serious, and that turned out fine, so I don't think that's a problem.
I don't know. In Frozen 2, it was more like a let's go on an adventure.
This is an adventure. She's literally in a completely different place at the end of the trailer than she is at the beginning of it.
I don't know. It just seemed serious. That's all I was
She's
saying.
going.
Well,
She's going to find a dragon.
the first trailer we saw of Frozen 2 was just Elsa running on the water.
Also incredibly serious, and also one of the best trailers of all time.
It really is. It still gives me goosebumps.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it was serious. That's all.
I don't think that's a problem. I think that
I wasn't saying it as a problem.
that's something that they've been doing in most of their animated films over the last few years, though, is that they have really serious moments, and also they're still family movies, so they still have.
I think it's interesting too how serious Frozen 2's trailer was, and they didn't even have the movie done yet. Like, they didn't even know where they were going.
Frozen 2 has a lot of serious stuff in it, though.
It does. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Better than Frozen 1.
Sorry, spoilers.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, to me, it was, like, very, like, serious.
Well, speaking of serious things, Disney has added an unskippable content warning in front of numerous films on Disney Plus to warn viewers of potential offensive content. The disclaimer reads, "This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove the content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. Disney is committed to creating stories with inspirational and aspirational themes that reflect the rich diversity of the human experience around the globe. To learn more about how stories have impacted society, please visit www.disney.com/storiesmatter." So when Disney Plus first launched, they were talking about how they were going to actually remove some of the offensive content from some of these movies. Specifically, I remember them saying that they were going to edit the crows out of Dumbo.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that as well.
Which, I don't know if I could even talk about this as a straight cis white male. I don't know that I have the right to talk about this kind of stuff, but with Dumbo specifically, the crows are a huge plot point in that movie. They're kind of important. So I feel like if they were to edit that out, the movie would have been incomprehensible to a certain extent. So instead of doing that, they decided that they were going to add little content warnings in the description of every video that says this may contain outdated cultural references. And then they also mentioned stuff like alcohol and cigarettes and stuff like that. But just recently, I guess that having that in the description wasn't good enough. So they added the statement to the beginning of the movie. It plays for 12 seconds. You cannot skip it. That's what it says. They're warning you ahead of time. And it's on movies like Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, The Aristocats,
Peter Pan.
It's in front of Aladdin, which I thought was interesting.
That's weird.
I get it. It's in front of Davy Crockett, Swiss Family Robinson. There's quite a few that it's in front of. And I think that's good. I think that they should let people know ahead of time, because hiding it in the description, not a lot of people read the description, and you never know if something is going to offend someone. And if you let them know ahead of time, they can decide like, hey, maybe I don't want to show my kid this movie. Maybe there's something in it that they shouldn't see, that I don't want them to see. So I think it's good to warn people ahead of time, and I think it's the proper way to handle something like that instead of completely removing it from the movie altogether. And again, maybe I shouldn't have an opinion on that because I'm not the one that these things are offending.
I do think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. They're doing the right thing.
I think that I saw somebody saying oh, people are offended by everything nowadays. And I actually think that this is the perfect solution for that. I think that's the opposite of what this is. I think this is them giving a heads up, saying like, hey, this may not be this in the best light. This was made a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. So I think that it's the perfect happy medium, because it's like you don't want to erase necessarily things that you've done, especially in terms of like Disney and animation, because even though they were offensive, or it wasn't seen as offensive back then, like these are just parts of history. Like Disney animation films are, embedded in everybody's childhoods, and it's just a big piece of it. So it's like, instead of just getting rid of it or editing it down and washing it out and making it, presentable for the audiences now, like let's just tell people ahead of time what they're getting into. I think that that's perfect, and I think that that's the right way to go about it.
Well, yeah, they admit like, hey, this was offensive then, and it's definitely offensive now.
Yeah.
So we don't condone it, but we also can't get rid of it. And if you go to the website that's linked there, it gives you a few examples of what is offensive in the different movies. Like there's one for Dumbo where it talks about the crows and everything, and it also has a list of like partners that they like work with, like on representation issues, and like trying to move forward and advance the company in that way. They're obviously taking this seriously, and I've seen people who think that they can do even more than that there should be like supplementary material that you could watch that explains the issues, and like I don't think you have to do all that. I understand why somebody would want you to do all that, but I don't think you have to do all that. I think this is sort of the best way to tackle that.
I think you should do that. If you watch those things and you don't see what's wrong with them, then you should. If you're like, I don't get what's wrong with Crows and Dumbo, then you should watch stuff like that.
Well, sure. There's a lot of older, I want to say it's like Looney Tunes cartoons. They were released on DVD, and there was like a introduction by Whoopi Goldberg, I think, who like explained like
why it was wrong
and the context of it, basically. Yeah. And people kind of want that for Disney. I've heard that a lot with Song of the South in specific, like, well, just re-release Song of the South, but have it introduced by somebody explaining what's wrong with it, like why you shouldn't.
Yeah, because I'm a big advocate for like non-censorship. I don't think anything should be censored. I think that they should release Song of the South, and I want people to know what, to watch it for themselves and decide for themselves like how they feel about it. But I also don't want to watch it on YouTube, so
they're never going to release Song of the South.
No, they're probably not. But still, I think that that's censorship, and I don't think that they should do that. I think they're trying to protect their reputation. And I think that they've been going in the right direction, but I think that they should still own up to it. Like, this was a part of your history. And it's not even like you were that worried about hiding it, because you built an entire theme park attraction on it. So let's not pretend like we're just so ashamed, Disney.
Okay. Splash Mountain doesn't have any of the offensive parts of Song of the South in it.
They still chose a movie that they wouldn't even release.
Of course. And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
in the 80s, when it was
about it, be about it and release it.
When it was decided to be built in the 80s, they were still showing the movie theatrically. It had a theatrical run in the 80s. That was the last time that they ever released it.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if you're really, like, you're going to rebrand the whole ride, like, show us. Let's see it.
But again, with Splash Mountain, still, none of the merchandise says Song of the South on it, so people don't know that it's from that movie or that movie even exists. They just think it's a cute
Basically,
ride.
Song of the South at this point it's basically legend at this point. People know of it because...
I thought it was on YouTube.
You could probably find it on YouTube. It's also been released in other countries, and you can definitely find it on illegal DVDs, bootleg DVDs. But I'm saying, like, Song of the South has kind of become a legend in that it's so offensive that Disney won't release it anymore. Like, that's kind of what Song of the South is now. I just don't know that they ever will, and I don't know.
They will, but I'm saying, let's see it. Like,
I don't think Disney can even make that decision unless there's, like, a black guy in charge of the company. Like, I don't think they could ever make that decision and people be okay with it.
Well, that's kind of why I want to watch it. I want to see, like, what's so offensive about it. Like, let me see if I really feel that way, as a not white person.
I thought it only had one reference, and that's why, because it used one word, they couldn't release it.
No, it's much...
It's the whole thing. His whole character.
Yeah, the main character is a slave. They don't refer to him as a slave, but he is a slave. There is, and this is also pulled from the books, but there's a reference to a tar baby, which is an incredibly offensive term and imagery towards black people. And all the characters kind of have accents that are kind of like that, and they kind of talk in a certain way that is reminiscent of the way slaves spoke. And that is the one thing that I think is carried into the ride that can maybe be tuned down. That's the only thing in the ride that I think you could point to and be like, that's offensive, is kind of the way the characters talk. But yeah, there's a lot in that movie that people find offensive. Mostly what I know about the movie is that it's actually just very boring. It has really good animation, but it's a really boring movie. And I feel like most people, if they were to watch it today, they wouldn't be so offended by it. They would more so be like, well, that movie's not very good. Why are we so mad about this movie? But I'm a straight white guy. I don't have that. That's not my call. I can't tell somebody, like, you shouldn't be offended by this because this movie actually kind of sucks. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So now that the news is out of the way, we're going to move on to some Halloween talk, because Halloween is being celebrated on October 31st. That'll be the Saturday that the week that this comes out. So we thought it would be fun to sort of talk about Halloween and Disney Plus and different things we would recommend on Disney Plus for Halloween. And Nikki also wanted to do something involving The Simpsons for Halloween. So what was that you wanted to do, Nikki?
We're going to do our top 5 favorite segments from the Treehouse of Horror. Brady, do you want to explain what Treehouse of Horror is, since you're the one that liked it the most?
Treehouse of Horror is the absolute best episode every season of The Simpsons. They literally do, every year, they do a Treehouse of Horror, starting with season 2. It's basically just the Halloween segment of The Simpsons. It's their Halloween episode. It releases every year during Halloween. And they do, basically, it's about 4 or 5 segments per episode.
It's three per episode.
Is it only 3?
It's 3. It's 3, and then there's like something connecting them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought there was 4. My bad. There's 3 segments per episode, and it's basically like one of the characters telling a scary story, and it just goes into these cool, really episodes. Yeah.
It also introduced the characters of Kang and Kodos.
Yes, Kang and Kodos, the alien brother and sister, are some of the best characters from The Simpsons.
Sure.
And they're seen every year, only during these episodes, basically.
And Funko just recently, maybe it wasn't just recently, maybe it was last year, they started releasing Treehouse of Horror specific Simpsons Pops. So that's pretty cool. It really does have a cult following since it does have 30 episodes.
Yeah, the Halloween is really big for The Simpsons, and it's something that people look forward to even now after The Simpsons' popularity has kind of waned in terms of like the actual show. People don't like it as much as they used to, but people do still tune in for Treehouse of Horror, and they're normally really great. So we've been watching it all our lives, and Nikki wanted to do the top 5 segments, except for Carissa, who doesn't care about The Simpsons.
Never watched.
Sorry, Carissa.
It's okay. All you got to do is watch season 8.
We'll be quick with this so that it isn't taking up too much time, but how do you want to do it, Nikki?
You're off that over an hour.
Well,
We can start with you, Matthew.
do you want me to do all 5 or just number 5?
No, do all 5.
Okay. All right, so I ended up changing my list a little bit from yesterday because I figured out that all 5 of mine were from 2 episodes, and I wanted it to not be that. Okay, so my number 5 pick is The Devil and Homer Simpson, which was from season 5, which would be Treehouse of Horror 4. This is the one where Homer sells his soul to the devil for a donut, and he has to, and he like goes to court with the devil to try to get him out of having to go to hell. It's a really funny episode with a lot of great, like the entire jury that has to oversee the trial is like famous people from history that are kind of like would be in hell, and it's really funny. It's a really funny, iconic episode, especially the ending. So that's my number 5 pick. Number 4 is Nightmare Cafeteria from season 6, which would be number 5 of Treehouse of Horror. This is I just watched this one yesterday too. This is Bart and Lisa are at school, and the school,
It's like Sweeney Todd.
sort of, yeah. They're like, well, they did do a Sweeney Todd parody later, but like they're like running out of money for food, and the school starts cooking the kids
Uh-huh.
and eating the children, and there's just a lot of really great jokes involving that. My favorite being, it's okay, something always comes along to save us, and then Milhouse falls into the blender. Oh, it's really funny. That's a good one. That's my next. After that is from season 7. It would be A Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. This is a parody of Nightmare on Elm Street, where Steamboat Willie. Wow.
Wow.
Groundskeeper Willie is haunting the children during their dreams, and at one point he turned.
Freddy Krueger. He's sort of like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street parody. He's like Freddy Krueger. He's
Yeah.
even wearing the outfit, and he turns into like a giant bagpipe spider at one point. This one has a lot of cool like visual styles in the different dreams, normally just in the backgrounds, but it looks really great, and there's a lot of good jokes in that one too. I actually have the Willy Funko Pop of him as.
So do I.
Yeah, that one's really good. After that, number 2 is The Shining from season 6. This is a parody of The Shining, and this one might have the best gags of any of the Treehouse of Horror episodes. I love no TV, no beer, make Homer something something, and then Marge is like, go crazy? Don't mind if I do. And the ending where he says urge to kill rising, that's still something I still say urge to kill rising from time to time. It's a really, oh man, I know I keep saying they're all great, but that one's great. And my number 1 is basically picked entirely on nostalgia, and that is Homer Cubed from season 6. Same episode as The Shining. This is one where Homer finds like an alternate dimension, and he is rendered in CGI for the first time, and this is in like 1996. 95, 96. So it was early CGI, doesn't look great, holds up a little better than I thought it would, but it's just really cool to see him in a different style. It's maybe not as funny as some of the other ones, but I really like it because of that. And there's also a cool Tron reference in that one.
I was about to say, he references Tron.
Another line I say all the time, thanks to my friend Ricky, who quotes it all the time. Anybody see that movie Tron? So
No.
So that's my list. Those are the best ones.
Brady.
All right, so I did for number 5. I did School is Hell, actually from season 26, which I know that's going to throw everybody off because it's newer. Basically, that one is they find themselves in the school, and Bart finds a dimension to an elementary school in hell. Literally in hell, and he goes to that school and is actually the number 1 student, knows how to do everything, and just he really wants to go to that school. So Marge and Homer actually go to hell to talk to the principal to get him accepted into that school, and Bart ends up being the number 1 student, and it's, I don't know, it's just something about it is funny. Number 4, which one did I do? I think I did Homer Cubed also from season 7. Again,
Season 6.
Yeah, another one. That one, like Matt said, it's just cool seeing him for the first time in CGI, and the Tron reference is just hilarious. Bart attempting to save him is kind of funny, even though he failed. But he said his dad's got it under control, and then Homer ends up in the real life and goes to an erotic cake shop to end the episode. Treehouse of Horror 2, I'm stealing one of Nikki's. She's going to get mad. The Raven, that's one of the best ones. I love the poem The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, so just seeing it in a Simpsons format is great. Season 4, Treehouse of Horror 3, I have King Homer as my second pick, which is the King Kong reference with Homer and Marge. I think that one's hilarious. It shows Mr. Burns trying to kidnap, or basically he does kidnap Homer as King Kong and takes him and puts him on Broadway and everything, just as an act to make money. Homer, runs away, and it goes to the dramatic scene from King Kong where he's trying to climb up the Empire State Building, but Homer's fat and lazy, so he only makes it up 3 stories and then falls to his death.
That's a great joke.
Yeah, that one. That's my number 2. And then number 1, the greatest Treehouse of Horror of all time. Everybody knows what's coming. The Thing and I, Treehouse of Horror 7, Season 8. This is where Bart has an evil twin, Hugo Simpson.
I should have known that was your number 1. I don't know why I didn't.
It's his evil conjoined twin that Bart and Lisa find in the attic, feeding on fish heads, and basically the whole episode is they're locked in the house trying to deal with Hugo. Homer and Marge are out, and they come back, and Dr. Hibbert comes back, and turns out that the evil conjoined twin is not actually Hugo. It was Bart from the get-go. So,
Also a great joke.
Hugo becomes the family member for the rest of that episode, and Bart's eating fish heads in the attic. But yeah, that's my list. And the fact that you didn't realize Hugo was coming mad, I'm kind of disappointed.
I should have. I don't know why I didn't. All right, Nikki, go ahead. What's yours?
Okay, so starting with number 5 is Scary Tales Can Come True from season 12, Treehouse of Horror 11. That's the one where Bart and Lisa are Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah.
I was going to put that one on my list, too.
And they go to the candy house, and they're with the witch, but it's just so funny because they're so poor that they can't afford to feed them. So Homer takes them to let them go free in the woods or whatever. And he says something about your other brother and sister. You just see the bones.
Damn.
Of the kids. Oh my God. I thought that's funny. Because sometimes they say that, like kids will tell their younger siblings stories about, we used to have an older brother and those are his bones, or that's his tongue, when it's a candy.
Yeah.
So the fact that they actually did put bones of kids.
That is a funny joke.
It was funny. And then I also think the part where the witch tells them that she's going on a date.
Oh, and and they don't believe her, and then the guy comes to the door.
Don't believe her. After she's dead.
That's really funny.
I'm looking for Susan.
And he's like hot. That's so funny.
Yeah, he is. The next one I have is Easy Bake Coven from season 9, Treehouse of Horror 8. This is the one where Marge is a witch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one's a good one, too.
And I like this one because it showcases Marge.
Yeah, not a lot of the Treehouse of Horror episodes focus on Marge.
Yeah, so I thought it was funny. And then I also think it's funny that at the end, this is why trick-or-treating is a thing.
Oh, because
they want to eat the kids, but then I think it's the Flanders give them apples, candy apples, and so then after that is when trick-or-treating starts. Number 3 is Genesis Tub, which is from Treehouse of Horror 7, which is a part of season 8. And so this is when Lisa has the her science experiment with the tooth.
Yeah.
In soda, I think it is.
Yeah, well, yeah. Bart. Oh no, it is her. Never mind. Bart comes later.
Yeah, Bart messes with it.
Right.
But so she makes a town or like a little.
She makes a city.
She creates life basically on accident.
Yeah, she creates life in her little petri dish, and she ends up getting sit down into it to try to help protect them from Bart.
Yeah, because she's treated as like a god.
Yeah, she's a god to them.
Because Bart's trying to destroy it and she's trying to save it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember always being intrigued by that as a kid. So that's definitely on there for nostalgia reasons. And so is my next one. So number 2 is Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores.
That was the one I
from
that was the one I cut to make room for. That was originally on my list, and then I was like, oh no, I can't have all of them be from season 7.
Yeah,
So this
I
is
had it
from-
too.
Treehouse of Horror 6, well, from season 7. And so this is when the mascots and
The advertisements.
the advertisements come alive because Homer steals the donut.
He steals Lard Lad's
Lard
donut.
Lad's donut. And it features the song Just Don't Look.
The best part of the whole episode, yes.
It is really the best part. But this episode, for some reason, reminds me a lot of Dad. I feel like Dad would remember this one. I think he would remember a lot of them. But I feel like he would remember this one.
Yeah.
It's just really good. I like the idea of the advertisements coming live
Yeah.
and being so huge.
And like eating people, yeah.
Who are eating from them. My number 1, of course, Brady said it already. It's The Raven.
Nevermore.
Nevermore. And honestly, I could get rid of all these and just say that one. But
Why is that one? Why do you like that one so much?
I don't know. I've just always liked it. I think Bart being this little raven is cute, and I just think the poem is so dark. But it's a really good poem, and I like that. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Mufasa.
James Earl Jones.
I like that he narrates it in the episode just like he does. There's actually, if you search on YouTube, there's a
Yeah.
narration of it that he did.
Yeah, he's for sure has the best narration.
I don't know, I've always liked it as a kid. That's like one of the only ones that I'll pretty much watch. Like, I'm not like the biggest fan of the Treehouse of Horrors, but because it's Halloween, I decided to include it in here. But The Raven and Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores are probably the 2 that I can watch the most. But definitely The Raven.
Yeah,
I could watch The Raven and then not watch the rest of the episode.
I think, yeah, if we used to sit down forever and just watch those 3. That the Raven, the one with the Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores, and then season 8 with Hugo. I feel like we used to just sit there and watch those 3 nonstop on the DVDs.
They're good. Those are all good. I don't know all the ones that you put, Brady. Some of the newer ones I don't know, but those are all good.
I only one of them was new.
What's the one with Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl? I almost put that one on my list.
Stretch
Oh,
Dude
I-
and Clobber Girl.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one with Lucy Lawless.
Yeah. I didn't know Xena could fly.
Stretch
I'm not
Dude and
Xena.
Clobber Girl.
I'm
It's
Lucy Lawless.
it's number 10.
Yeah, I almost put that one on there, but it's not as funny as the other ones. All right, so The Simpsons doing good things for Disney Plus. Yay! It's like it's one of their biggest things. It's been at the top of the little banner at the top. It's been there since the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
Simpsons has been.
I put it on.
I don't
I
know
put it on
anybody
every
that
night when I
watches
go to
The
bed.
Simpsons except for you guys.
Jim Hill said on one of his podcasts that it's been doing really good for Disney Plus. It's been a huge boon for them, and I'm surprised because I thought that when they first bought Fox, that maybe Simpsons would be one of the first things to go give it to Universal so that they could get something back. Trade the Simpsons for Marvel.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say trade the Simpsons for Hulk and Spidey.
Yeah, but
But nope.
Nope.
They're making bank.
yeah,
Aren't
Simpsons.
we so lucky?
Simpsons is doing so good for them. So
Hope you guys don't like Toontown because it's getting turned to Springfield.
no, it is not because they're building Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Shut up. And there's a Springfield and Universal Hollywood and Universal Florida. I don't think they can do anything in the theme parks with the Simpsons yet. At least
We'll give them the Spider-Man ride that's coming to California.
at least
Adventure.
domestically. Anyway, what other stuff is fun to watch for Halloween on Disney Plus? Carissa, what's something that you would watch on Disney Plus for Halloween?
Halloween Town.
Why?
I don't know. The nostalgia of it, probably.
When was the last time you watched Halloween
It's been
Town?
a long time. That's why I really wanted it to come
Did you know
out.
there's 4 of them?
Yeah, I did.
Halloween Town High is the last
I
one
also
that came out.
found out that the girl and the guy are married.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're married.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know they're doing on
So cute.
I think on the Disney Channel YouTube channel, they're doing short animated cartoons based on Halloween Town.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that.
They're like new. Like one just came out a couple days
Yeah,
ago.
no, I really do want to watch it just to know how if it held up well. But that was like one of the, it always came on.
That was number 1 on Jenny Nicholson, our favorite YouTuber's list of Halloween specials to watch. Was Halloween's, yeah.
I don't really like Halloween. Like I don't really like. Well, I mean, I don't dislike scary movies, but I just don't watch them because nobody watches them with me, and I don't want to watch them by myself.
I don't like scary movies.
So I don't know. I don't really. But like Disney Plus, I would for sure watch Halloween Town. Maybe we will. I guess there's still time. We still have like a week.
There's still a week.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch
Full
it.
week.
Brady, other than The Simpsons, what would you watch for Halloween on Disney Plus?
On Disney Plus, I mean, I'm gonna have to say either Hocus Pocus or Nightmare.
Boring.
Even though everybody considers Nightmare a Christmas movie. I don't know. I wanna watch Mr. Boogedy too, just to see how that one is. Just because it seems hilarious.
I think Brandon, our cousin, I think he has like a connection to Mr. Boogedy.
I think he does too.
He does. I don't
know what that
I don't
connection
understand.
is, but he has some kind of
Me
connection to
neither.
Mr. Boogedy. Nikki, what would you recommend that isn't The Simpsons?
Oh, I would probably recommend Halloween Town also.
Lame.
Have you watched it more recently than Carissa?
I haven't. No, I mean they watched it at my work yesterday, but I wasn't really. I didn't really watch it, but I could hear the music and it took me back. It was very nostalgic. But a lot of these movies I've never even watched. Like a lot of these newer movies, like Zombies 2.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like Halloween movies on Disney Plus, and most of them are Disney Channel movies that I had not ever heard of. So
Yeah, Zombies is only from like, what, 4 years ago? Something like
Yeah.
that. It's not very old.
I
Yeah.
want to watch that.
Oh no. That's why my recommendation is not a movie at all, but actually an episode of Gravity Falls, one of the best cartoons ever made. Episode 12 of season 1, Summerween. So Gravity Falls takes place entirely during summer. The kids are out of school and they go to stay with their great uncle Stan in the mysterious town of Grunkle Stan. Yes, in the mysterious town of Gravity Falls. And because there is no they don't actually make it to October in the show. They couldn't do a Halloween episode, so they made up a holiday, Summerween, which is halfway to Halloween. The town of Gravity Falls likes Halloween so much that they celebrate it in July, and instead of carving pumpkins, they carve watermelons. And the episode it's just really funny. The trickster is like the name of the villain, the monster in the episode. It's really creepy, but it has a really funny resolution. And the conflict between Dipper and Mabel, the two twins in the show, it actually has a really sweet resolution at the end. I love Gravity Falls. I think the whole series could be watched for Halloween because a lot of supernatural stuff happens in that show, and especially the 3-part series finale is kind of scary. But Summerween, that would be my recommendation to watch for Halloween. There's actually a
Wait,
good one.
you're telling me that you're not going to recommend the movie for this week?
I wish. There's. All right.
There.
All right, we're gonna get into this movie for this week because oh boy, did we have a movie for this week. So,
And we probably won't talk about it too much.
and probably never again. We might be the first people to ever watch this movie on Disney Plus. So we're gonna get into our featured film discussion, which is The Ghosts of Buxley Hall from 1980. Spoilers for The Ghosts of Buxley Hall. Let me read you the description from Disney Plus. The ghostly residents of 100-year-old Buxley Hall conjure up supernatural mayhem when the financial-strapped school is forced to allow girls into the boys-only academy. Their only hope is 13-year-old Jeremy, a shy cadet who is heir to a fortune. But when the ghosts learn that Jeremy's conniving aunt is out to steal his inheritance so she can buy the school and demolish it, they charge to his rescue. Directed by Bruce Bilson and starring Dick O'Neill, Victor French, Louise Latham, Rad Daly, Monte Markham, and Ruta Lee, as well as several others. Okay, let's talk about The Ghosts of Buxley Hall. So the first thing you need to know about The Ghosts of Buxley Hall is that it was first aired as a 2-part episode of Disney's Wonderful World of Color. I guess it was just called Disney's Wonderful World back in the 80s. In December. So that means it has a budget of about $2. And you could tell by watching it.
That you can.
Nikki, talk about this movie that you loved so much.
Oh, I just love it. It's my favorite movie ever now. It's extremely sexist, and it's also very confusing for a while.
Yeah, it was actually weird to watch it because the point of it was so that you didn't like in the movie they like are critical of the girls and they say like that they're one way and the characters are sexist, and like the whole point of the movie is to kind of not prove them wrong, but like, you know, there's certain things that happen so that they like, you know, they think that the girls would be laughing and they aren't, and you know, they play pranks on them and they think that they would be one way and they're another way. And it's weird to watch such an old movie with that perspective because it was trying to be progressive, but it was trying to be progressive like in the 80s, and it was so long ago at this point. And like, I don't know. It was kind of refreshing because this year there's a lot of things that make you think that, oh, like as a people, like have we really progressed? Like we're still fighting for like basic rights for so many people. Like have we really come far? And after watching this movie, I would say that we have, because at least women are not thought of in this way anymore. And even though the movie was trying to tell you not to think of women that way, they don't really resolve it in the best way. But yeah, it was just interesting to see that. And it's Disney.
Since most people who are listening to this probably have never seen this movie before, let me try to explain to you exactly what happens in this movie. So Buxley Hall is this military academy. It's an all-boy military academy, and then because they're struggling for money, they have to have a girls' school move in, and the girls are not military, so they act entirely different from the men. And the boys kind of look down on the women, especially the head of the school. And this, I guess, is a huge problem because these three ghosts from the 1896 or something like that. This military guy, his sergeant, and his wife, they're the ghosts of the school. And they come out, and their whole goal is to like get rid of the girls. And then they realize that, oh wait, no, we actually need the girls because
the money,
right? If the girls stay, they'll actually have the money to save the school. So this general, especially the main general, General Eulis, is really sexist to women. Like he really doesn't want girls there. He's really sexist to his wife. He thinks a woman's place is, in the kitchen and
getting his bourbon.
Yeah, so he basically sends Sergeant Major Chester B. Sweet to go try to get rid of these girls. And eventually you find out that this kid named Jeremy, our main character, sort of, is caught up in this like weird... He doesn't want to be at the school, but his uncle, who is like his caretaker, has like a lot of money and is going to donate to the school and like save it if they keep him there. But he's also got an aunt who's trying to get his fortune that he inherited from his dead parents. And there's a really convoluted plot. The problem with this movie... I mean, I guess there's a lot of problems with this movie, but one of the biggest problems with this movie is that the first, 30 minutes, there's a lot of explaining the plot, there's a lot of setting up the characters, it's just a lot of exposition.
And the characters don't really flow, either. They're just... And it was kind of slow.
It starts really slow.
It was really slow.
It is really slow.
It's a made-for-TV movie from the 80s, so, I mean, it's gonna...
And it was a two-part, so...
Yeah. I actually think the second part is way better. Once things get going and they get to that there's a military challenge that they have to do where they're running through the woods and the girls join in on them and are trying to beat the boys. That scene's really fun. One of the best jokes in the whole movie is there where the ghost is trying to he helps a boy up a rock who can't get up the rock, and then a girl comes and is trying to do the same thing, and he doesn't know how to grab the girl to help her up the rock because he doesn't want to touch this young girl. So the wife, the female ghost, does it. That's a really funny joke. I don't know. I think once the plot gets going, it actually is more entertaining. The aunt in this movie is so comedically evil, over the top, cartoonish villain evil, that she's very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, she was interesting. She was a good character, as an interesting to watch.
I wouldn't call her a good character.
Yeah, well,
I just think she was fun because of how evil she was. She literally tells her new husband that she wants to kill
Her 7th husband.
Her 8th.
Her 8th husband, that's right.
8th? Oh,
Yeah, she wants to... There's a
Yeah.
joke about that.
I thought it was 7th.
Well, no, the joke is the original... The uncle is like, your 6th husband, and then he goes 7th, and then she goes 8th.
Oh,
Like, that's
I
the
didn't even
joke.
hear her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the joke. But she's so cartoonishly evil. She's like telling her new husband that she wants to kill her nephew, like so that she can get the money.
So she can get the
Yeah,
money.
so like accidents happen, and like at first her husband like isn't in on it. He's like, you can't kill this kid, and then by the end of it, he's dressed up as a ghost trying to haunt the school so that the kid leaves. It's really ridiculous.
I'm not really sure who they made this movie for. I mean, I guess everybody, but like nobody at the same time. I don't know, I just didn't see a kid liking it. A little kid definitely wouldn't like it, but then like I don't even see like a preteen liking it, because I don't see a preteen liking it for very long because there's not that much of the kid stuff in it. And then I don't see adults loving it too much because the subject matter just seems kind of silly. So I'm like, I just don't know where this fell. And maybe that's just a testament to the times. Maybe all of the stuff that they were pumping out was kind of just supposed to be like under this like family dynamic where it wasn't really geared towards any one group. But I don't know, it just seemed kind of all over the place with its dynamics.
70s and 80s were a bad time for Disney. The thing about this movie is that this is the kind of movie that would
Yeah.
never be made anymore because they just don't make made-for-TV movies.
No, they don't.
Disney doesn't make low-budget movies like this
Yeah.
anymore. Whenever they show something on TV, it's either a Disney Channel movie, which are becoming fewer and farther between, or they just rerun movies that people like. So
Yeah.
they don't make movies like this anymore. So it's kind of a fascinating piece of Disney history.
I thought it was really weird too how they have this black character
Mhm.
who is supposed to be like the assistant to the dean or whatever you want to say. And, you know, they make such a big deal about how the ghost looks at him.
Mhm.
And you could kind of tell that he doesn't approve.
Uh.
But then we never see this character
Yeah, they
again.
really don't revisit it.
Yeah, it's
No.
it's more focused on trying to get the point across that like, women there are equals. They're not, we shouldn't be treating them like nothing. And I feel like that message is kind of botched because pretty much everybody does learn that lesson except for the main ghost who the movie literally ends with him telling his wife to go get him a brandy or something. And his wife like tells him like, get it yourself. But like, he's still like, well, women should learn their place. Like, he doesn't learn anything. He's also barely in this movie. I don't know what his point was.
Yeah.
I guess his point was just to be sexist and racist without saying a lot.
Yeah. The real star of the movie is Sergeant Major Chester B. Sweet. He's the best character.
He is.
He's the like military assistant and the guy that ends up becoming friends with the main character, the main boy, and he eventually meets the main girl, and he's the one trying to stop the plot.
He has the most growth.
Yeah, he grows the most as a character. He just is the most character.
He's interesting.
You
He's
really
funny.
you like him. You get to like him as a character. There's the scene where he steals the bus and drives a bus across town and it's like crashing into stuff. There's some really good gags. This movie doesn't have a very big budget, so most of the special effects are bad, but there's a lot of really good gags where like the ghosts like pick something up and then they cut to the scene where it's just floating in the air. Like there's a lot of good gags like that. Brady, what did you think of the Ghosts of Buxley Hall?
I mean, it wasn't good, but
It wasn't good.
it had takeaways like you said, Chester being hilarious. I personally like the janitor. The janitor was just a hilarious character because I mean, he's the one who thinks he's seeing these ghosts and he's trying to tell the other people and everybody's like, no, you're insane. So he goes and gets drunk and then sees the ghost again and just makes hilarious faces and passes out and does some pretty hilarious stuff for the
That's
80s.
Kind of overacting.
Yeah, that janitor is super overacting. He reminds me of Ernest, the Ernest movies.
Oh yeah, he totally is kind of playing off of that. Yeah.
Jim Varney, that's the actor who plays Ernest. He reminds me of that with the way that he's super physical and he makes a lot of funny faces. He's not as good of an actor as Jim Varney, but he is very funny. I love he's carrying light bulbs, and you know the second you see that man carrying light bulbs that he's gonna drop all those light bulbs because that's
I called it immediately.
That's exactly the kind of movie this is. That's the joke they're going for. This man is holding light bulbs. He's gonna see a ghost. When they take him to get the aunt and her husband take the janitor guy or find him at the bar, and that's when they learn about the ghosts and they get him drunk. And the waitress in that bar is wearing the weirdest getup I have seen. She's wearing like a skin tight, like pink jumpsuit. I was like, man, the 80s. Like, why don't all waitresses dress like that? Why don't you dress like that?
It's not the 80s anymore.
I want you to dress like that. What else do I have on my notes here?
It was really confusing because sometimes you would get that it was made in the 80s vibe, but then other times it would feel like it's older.
Well, it was 1980, so it was probably like made... The 80s didn't start until 82, so it was basically still the 70s.
But sometimes it would even give me like 60s feels. I don't know, maybe it was just like the aunt in her house.
Yeah, I don't... See, that part was really confusing. The aunt, she's trying to get this kid's money because they don't have any money left, but she's got like the nicest house I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, she's living in like a mansion, and like her
clothes
new...
are all nice. She has like super nice clothes. He has super nice clothes.
Yeah, he's a count. Like, what do you mean you have no money? Why do you need this kid's money? You look like you're fine. You're doing fine.
And so I thought maybe that was the boy's house.
Oh, maybe.
So like his parents' house. But
I'm
I don't
pretty
think
sure
so.
it's supposed to be their house.
Yeah. It's very inconsistent.
It's also... I thought that the girl that the Jeremy meets, Posey, I thought she was going to be more important, because they set her up to be like this sort of a troublemaker, but he likes her because she's something different for the school, and they introduce her and she's like talking shit to everybody, and she's got like bubble gum, and she's wearing a shirt that says never underestimate the power of a woman, you know, to really hammer home that point. And she kind of disappears throughout most of this movie. She only comes back every once in a while. I was kind of disappointed in that. I guess they wanted to focus more on the ghosts and the aunt, but like the movie's about the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's a part where very creepy, might I add, the boy Jeremy goes literally to her room, opens the door, goes inside to her sleeping.
First he goes to the other girls trying to find her.
So then he shakes her awake, and so then she goes downstairs. So that's already creepy enough. And so then she goes downstairs to his room, and so they get caught in the room together, even though obviously they were not doing anything. They're young children. 13. And so then they threaten to kick her out, but then I feel like that kind of gets lost.
Yeah, they don't really come back to that. The movie kind of moves more towards the, like I said, the aunt and the ghosts. Like, it stops being worried about that plot and more so worried with the like the plot with the aunt. The school being torn down, basically.
Yeah.
The girls become, like, they're the main plot element, is like, we need these girls in the school to save it, but also we want to get them out because, ooh, girls. But it's less, it just becomes less about that as the movie goes on, even though that's supposed to be the whole lesson. It's really strange.
Yeah, it seemed like they didn't really know where they were taking it.
Like, you almost could have left the girls out entirely, because the plot is that the school is losing money, but the uncle says that he will pay for the school as long as Jeremy stays there.
Right, and you could have totally just had the boys, and you could have had a thing where the boys are torturing the main boy, and the ghosts know that they need him to stay, so they're, like, helping him, and so they play pranks on the other boys. You're totally right. They literally don't even need to add the girls.
And the aunt is there to create conflict by taking away his money, by getting Jeremy out of the school. She wants the money so that the money doesn't go to the school, and the school is getting destroyed. That's your entire conflict. The girls basically add nothing to the plot other than the ghosts don't want the girl there.
Jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
And the conflict between the, like, general and the main lady, like, that is, like, I don't know, I feel like that doesn't really lead anywhere either. Like, it's like, they don't even have tension in, like, a cute romantic way. They just have tension, and it just is clear that he doesn't respect her as, like, an anything. And it doesn't even get resolved. It doesn't even get resolved until he starts to have, like, an attraction to her. Then he's like, oh, okay, now I can respect her. And
this
it's like, and
these are the two heads of the school she's talking about. The male head of the boys' school, and then the woman who moves in.
So he doesn't even give her the time of day until he's like, oh, she's actually kind of cute. And then he wants her to stay or whatever.
Yeah,
she's not even...
that guy's got some weird facial expressions too.
He does.
He doesn't respect her at all throughout most of the movie. Like, even when he's finally coming around to her, he's like finally seeing her as sort of an equal. He still undercuts everything he says with like, oh, but girls, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's still kind of against her, and until he's like, well, maybe we can bone, whatever. Could be a good lay. Like, that's almost the only reason he turns around at the end.
It is.
And he says at the end, oh, the girls can stay, blah, 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 blah. And it's whatever. I feel like the message is kind of fumbled.
It also didn't really need to be a military school. Because, like, what was the point of that?
Just
to
have it so that the man is strict and the woman is fun.
Right.
Yeah, so that the girls are kind of running wild and doing whatever they want. It could have just been
a boarding school. It didn't even have to be a
Well, I think they were both boarding schools.
Oh. Well, why would a normal boarding school merge with a military boarding school?
Money.
That didn't make any sense. Also, why were they so in debt when they had people? Like, they had students to pay their tuition, so, like, why was he so behind? Did they even address that? They said he was a year behind. Why?
You see how many students they had? There was like 10.
I mean, that's true, but still.
And they were all supposed to be different grades, but they were all in the same class together.
Yeah. This movie also has the typical scene from movies of that type, that genre, that era, where the boy learns to box and then fights the bully, and he gets one good punch in, and then all of a sudden the bully is not the bully anymore.
Well, he put him in his place.
Yeah, he did put him in his place, but it's just, that scene is in every movie. That's the entire plot of The Karate Kid. Like, there is a good running joke in this movie, though, where the trumpet player doesn't know how to play trumpet very good, and he's just constantly playing, and it just sounds bad, and that's a good running joke.
Yeah, I like the trumpet player just being there randomly because he was awful. That would be me.
There's also a scene where the dean guy is trying to teach them about the reproductive system. I thought that was super awkward.
Super awkward because he tells them just to read it in the book.
Well, because the girls all come in and he doesn't know what to say anymore because he's sexist. He doesn't know how to describe the female body to females. And he's like, any questions? And all the girls raise their hands and he's just read it in the book. Like,
well, he probably shouldn't be the one teaching about the female.
Absolutely not. He shouldn't be. He doesn't respect them. He just wants to fuck them.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the main guy. Why was he teaching sex ed to begin with?
I don't know. Did you see?
The teacher left.
Did you see?
He said that because of budget cuts, the teacher left.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
I feel like they explained this all in the beginning with the two like lone guys, but I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, because it's very it's hard to follow.
Yeah. Like I said, the beginning is all exposition, so it takes a while for this movie to get going.
And I couldn't even imagine watching it when it came out because I would have watched the first half the one Saturday and then I had to wait a week for the next episode. I would have forgot. I'm like, what's this movie about again?
It was 1980 though. There's nothing better to do than to sit at home and watch The Wonderful World of Color.
Yeah.
Right, but I wouldn't remember what the next episode was about. Like, what happened in the last episode?
Well, maybe there was a
two-parter. Oh, yeah. Maybe there was a recap.
The last thing I have written down is the music in this movie is something else.
Weird. So, like, messing up the tone of the movie. I don't know who composed this or put it together, but they were not doing their job.
I loved, every once in a while, whenever they would cut to one of the ghosts, it would just have, like, an old, like, army sting, like, just, whew, the music. It sounds like it was just music that they just bought. Like public domain music and just played it over. What a movie.
I don't understand why it was recommended as a Halloween movie.
Yeah, so it is I assume it's because it's about ghosts, but there's nothing scary about it. The ghosts aren't scary. They barely even look like ghosts because they don't have the special effects budget to make them look like ghosts. There's one scene where you do see like ghosts, quote unquote, but it's just two dudes in a sheet. Like, and it's not even the ghosts. It's just, it is really weird. It is not a Halloween movie. I would not recommend this as something to watch on Halloween.
No, I wouldn't recommend this as something to watch on Halloween either. You could watch this whenever.
Yeah.
It's also not what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but I don't know. I just expected the ghosts to want to close the whole thing down.
Right. You expected the ghosts to be like bad guys.
Yeah, I expected the school to be maybe new and like to open up on their land or whatever, and them trying to scare them away.
Right.
In a more scary way.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have made it probably more enjoyable. But I mean, for what it was, I liked... like I said, I liked the ghost Chester, and I liked the wife too. I like how she eventually gets involved, and like because her husband is the one that we barely see, and he doesn't want her to like do anything because a woman's place, you know. And she gets involved in the plot. She like helps solve the problem, and I think that kind of leads into that kind of fumbled message of like, oh, maybe women are like equals.
Useful.
Yeah, because she doesn't see herself as an equal until these girls move in and kind of show her that like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be like, you know, maybe I can be helpful.
I was kind of hoping she would, after he asked her at the end to get his drink. A part of me wished she would have just left the painting too.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have stayed with him. I mean, I guess they're ghosts and they're just doomed to eternal like being with each other. But I would have just been like, you know what? I can just vanish and go wherever I want. I'm out of here. You're a piece of shit. You didn't learn anything.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. That she was just gonna leave.
That would have been smart. At least she told him to get it on his own.
Yeah.
It was a start.
Brady, would you buy a Funko Pop of Sergeant Major Chester B. Sweet?
Yes.
I would too.
That's not a good gauge.
I'm
you
gauging
would
it.
buy any pop.
That's true.
Especially for the novelty.
All right. That's
You literally bought a pop from Artemis Fowl.
I did, but to be funny. All right, shut up. No,
I didn't.
No more pops.
I never
No
would.
more pops. This is my fault. I'm sorry. Let's do our verdicts, whether this is a plus or a bust. Brady, is this movie a plus or a bust?
A bust.
Nikki, is this a plus or a bust?
Oh, it's a major bust. I'm surprised I stayed awake.
Carissa, would you give this movie a plus or a bust? Oh, God.
Well, I when we say plus or bust, we say we would recommend it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't say that I wouldn't. Like, maybe if you like old Disney movies and that's your thing. I don't know. I enjoyed it by the end, and it held my attention.
That's my thing, Carissa, and I would never recommend this movie. Ever.
Okay, so let's kind of change it this way. Would you recommend it as a Halloween movie?
No.
Hell no.
No, I'm asking Carissa Brady, not you.
No. I don't think it's a Halloween. I don't think it's a Halloween movie. But I don't know that I don't know if I would say it was a bust. What do you think? You go first.
There are parts of this movie that I did find enjoyable, that did entertain me, but I think there's a lot to get through to make it entertaining. I think I would give it a bust. I think it's not very good, but there are parts in it that I liked, and maybe somebody would be really into this movie, but I think a regular audience these days wouldn't find very much in this movie to watch. It's got a generic kind of plot, and there are better movies that do the same kind of thing. So I think I would give it a bust. I didn't hate it. It's not even as bad as The Lion King 2019.
Right, like that's how I felt. I would rather watch this
or
than
Artemis Fowl. But I'd
rather watch this than Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, this is.
I think both this and The Lion King would put me to sleep.
This is better.
I mean, all three would put me to sleep.
I mean, this is better than Artemis Fowl, but I also don't. Yeah. I don't think it's great. I think there's a lot of problems with it, and I feel like the majority of people probably wouldn't like it. I'm going to give it a bust for that reason.
I'm going to give it a plus.
Of course you are.
Oh my God.
Why?
Because I didn't think it was that bad. I do think that it's really slow to start, but I also have to think about the fact that this movie was made in the 80s. Like, that was a long time ago. So, like, I'm not going to judge it based on, like, the criteria today. Like, for Lion King, like, they remade The Lion King, and they made it more boring. You know, they redid it, and they made that movie just a few years ago. And then this movie was made in the 80s, and I enjoyed it more. So I can't say that I would give it a bust. I wouldn't put it on the same tier as the live-action Lion King. So I'm going to say I give it a plus.
All right, well.
I think that if you
have to go into it with an open mind.
If you like older movies, you'll like this movie, I think. If you like kind of like silly comedy or something that you just want to put on just to kind of chill, nothing too Like, I mean, the plot is a little bit complex, but nothing too complex.
I can't imagine very many people going back to this movie. That's the thing.
No, I can't either, but I don't know that I would say, like, oh, it's like the worst movie I've ever watched. I don't think it's that bad. Again, it's better than live action Lion King.
No, we also haven't got to, oh my gosh, what is it? The Irish movie with the little people.
Oh,
my gosh, what is it
Darby
called?
O'Gill and the Little People.
What?
Yes. We haven't even gotten to that one. I would watch this movie over that movie.
Oh, you don't like that one, huh? That's a lot of people consider
no.
that like a Disney classic.
I did not. It was... if I wasn't at work, I would have fallen asleep watching that one.
Ah, well, since we're on that subject, do we want to find out what we're going to watch next week?
No. I'm scared.
Yes.
Because we're not doing Halloween this time, so
I don't want to
Girl, watch me get that
I'm
one.
going to hit the button.
do Halloween Town?
No.
Atlantis, The Lost Empire.
Oh, thank
Oh
God.
my God.
That's okay. I'll watch it.
Oh,
again.
thank
We
God.
just watched it not that long ago.
It wasn't that. It was a while ago.
It was a while, but within the
I just
last
recently saw
2 years.
some of it at work. So
It's kind of hoping for not an animated movie, but that's okay.
Skips.
We're not doing skips. I'm not skipping it because I want to watch it.
Next
I want to
time.
talk about it. But it's just, I don't want, because we did Oliver and Company last time. I don't want to get through all the animated movies and then, like, none of those are left
I know.
anymore. Because then it's going to come back to bite us in the ass where all we're watching is terrible 80s live action movies. Like the Ghosts of Buxley Hall. All right, so that's going to do it for our episode, I guess. If you liked this episode, go ahead and leave us a review or a comment or a rating or whatever. Let us know that you like it. Recommend it to your friends. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @plusorbust. You can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Disney Plus or Bust. You can send us an email you can send us an email, disneyplusorbust@gmail.com. You could tell us what you think. If we got anything wrong, you can let us know. You can ask us a question, anything fun like that. And that's it. The only other thing I have to say is go vote, because we have a very important election coming up in the United States in a week. So please vote. Please vote. Please, for the love of God, we can't go through another 4 years of this. Please vote.
Oh my God.
All right, we'll see you on the next one with Atlantis, The Lost Empire. Bye.
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 Ready, set, action.
We need one of those clip things.
I was about to say I need a clacker.
Is that what it's called? A clagger? That's not what it's
I have
called.
two. I
think
have
so.
two.
Oh,
Should I
you
get
do
it?
have some.
No,
No.
don't get it. We don't actually need it.
But I actually have one. I actually have two.
Well, we don't need it.
but it would be
Clapper.
fun.
It's a clapper.
A clapper? A clapper is the clap on.
No,
You keep
I type
dropping
in
your phone.
movie
I have a thing that
clapper,
would keep it there.
and that's what comes
I
up.
do need something. I have something
A
somewhere.
clapper board.
Clack. I thought it was like a clack, but whatever. Shut up. I'm going to do the intro. Are you done?
Yeah. No. Okay. no. No. No, I'm done. Okay. Okay.
I'm about to do a solo podcast. Just me talking for 45 minutes about why Shy Guy is the best Mario enemy.
Oh God.
What?
I don't know. I just need something that I could talk about for a really long time by myself.
Shy Guys. When
Do you really actually believe that though, or is that just you talking out of your ass?
What?
Are you recording?
I'm recording, but I haven't started the... Do I believe what? That Shy Guy's the best Mario enemy? Because I do.
Really?
You do really?
Shy Guy's my favorite. Yeah, he's the best. Look at him.
Oh.
He's got a cute little mask and he's the best.
But
Okay.
is he
Look, I
like?
have, like 3 or 4 up there.
Is he actually the best because like you think he's
No, he's
the
the best because I like him the best. He's not the best because he's the best. He's
Oh,
the best because I like him the
Well,
best.
you said that
He's my
because you made
favorite.
it seem like you had an actual argument.
He's my
as
favorite.
to
Like, who's the
why.
best? The
Yeah.
best? Hammer Brother, I guess.
I don't know. Piranha Plant got a character in Smash.
Yeah, but That's Hoboken. All right, stop. Shut up. Stop eating. Everybody stop. All right, I'm gonna go if everybody's done.
My mic fell. Hold on.
Oh my fucking god.
You're good.
I need you to stop laughing because I can't cut you out.
Okay.